Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, from the Staples IT team. We are Blue Sky Cloud Consulting, and we are here today to talk to you about a project implementation migrating Oracle E-Business Suite to the cloud. I am Dom Frugis. I am a Chief Relationship Officer with Staples on my team.
I'm Prakash Bhatt, I'm the CFO. I'll explain the costs involved and how the breakup of that.
I'm Patricia Mack, and I am the Solutions Architect. I will be explaining some of our features for you.
I'm Jose Moreira. I'm the Information Infrastructure Architect, and I'll be going over that part of the presentation with you.
And hi, I'm Ken Mijek. I'm the partner in charge of delivery and methodology.
So what we've discussed with Staples executives, and this is from the annual report 2012, your priorities are to accelerate growth in Staples' online business, and that customers want increased flexibility and consistency. And we're recommending, we saw some issues that we want to address, and we are recommending developing an internal methodology to monitor user mobile experience and improve accordingly. And secondly, we want to develop a best-of-breed mentality for mobile applications, and this is all relative to the migration of the Oracle E-Business Suite and your inventory management. We want to keep that in perspective for you. Everything is relative to inventory management in this migration. Second thing we learned, and I'm using some notes here, excuse me. The second thing we learned is that you want to accelerate your growth in your online business. You want to enhance your user experience and improve the Staples value chain agility. So our recommendations are to move inventory management to the cloud, content delivery network, and we'll get a little more involved in that, cloud burst capabilities and database acceleration using SSD, and Patty will handle that later and go into that in more detail. And a content delivery network will provide you high availability and high performance to address some issues. And just to let you know, we did our homework and we went out and we found out these metrics from a site called, it used to be Gomez, now called CompuWare. And we found some issues, and you can see here are top 3, here's Staples, so we see some issues and we want to make some recommendations. But the point here simply is we did our homework. Now, what and why the cloud? Why and what is the cloud? So basically here, the thing we want you to know is, again, we did our homework, we looked at the National Institute of Standards and Technology in Washington, D.C., their recommendations: on-demand, broad network access, rapid scalability, resource pooling, multi-tenant architecture, which is key in developing cloud, and then measured and metered service. And the E-Business Suite to the cloud, again, the Staples team imperative, the Staples executives, their imperative was to improve Staples inventory management by moving a major Tier 1 application to the cloud, and again, business agility, increased efficiency, total cost of ownership. We want to, again, the hidden cost, there's 90% of costs related to software. We want to get away from that. CapEx to OpEx, and then some IT cost savings. We think we can deliver that to you through our project. And this is just a little bit about scaling OpEx in the cloud. You can do scale up by simply increasing existing memory, scale out, expanding memory and storage, adding virtual servers. Patty will again talk a little bit more about that later. Or scale down, and I know this is important to you because I saw a Fox News piece with Mr. Demos Paredes, who's your Vice President for North America Online and Retail. So you have a peak period that runs around Labor Day for 10 days related to school inventories and school sales. Then you have probably later, perhaps a scale down. What happens in October, early November? And then you're going to have a scale up again in, let's say, December for Christmas gifts and end-of-year purchases. Our approach, I'm going to turn that over to Ken. He's going to handle that for you.
Thank you, Don. So my job is to make sure that we take a look at methodology and what we're proposing, how it's going to be done, and put some structure around that. So I interface with the project development teams in terms of doing the outlay for clients. So I'm going to take you through our methodology and the approach that we use. It's a proprietary approach that's particular to what we've developed, and we believe it'll be successful for you. So, as our proposal is stated, we're looking to take what you've got in-house and move it to the cloud. When you go into the cloud, there's a lot of the same challenges that you have in data centers, right? Everyone's focused on security. You've got issues around data and application interoperability, how that's working together. The portability of the applications becomes extremely important in the cloud, as you all already know. Having the ability to take a credit card and spin up a new instance into a cloud is a really cool thing, right? But the problem is now you've got rogue applications in all places, potentially. Key to have governance and management when this is happening, right? So the IT teams are extremely important to use the disciplines that you all already know and love and learned, and make sure that they stay in place as we change to this new style of computing. It's not no computing, it's just a new way to deal with it. So it also offers metering, monitoring. So what we're trying to ensure in the solution here is choice, flexibility, right? Speed and agility. And one thing that matters is, are these vendors viable? For how long? Right? Because if there's a problem with this vendor, we need to be able to ensure that you don't get stuck, we don't get stuck with our critical application somewhere in an environment where now we can't move it. So you've got that flexibility. That's part of what we consider. So moving to the cloud, it's a 5-step process is what we use. Very similar to probably what most of you are familiar with. There's an investigation stage, an evaluation, a piece that goes through the decision process, the implementation stage, and then it's iterative, right? So we can use this for this application, but we use the same methodology. It's a consistent methodology where our team gets to become expert in knowing how to do this. Any questions on any of this before I step ahead? Okay. So the implementation plan is an area I just want to focus in on, and again, this is in terms of methodology. We have a project definition, we look at governance, we establish a delivery team. In governance, we do ask to have some named executives to be part of the team. Same on our side. Project delivery team, the same. We need named people that are going to take on the roles to be successful in this project, to be part of the success, and to be accountable with time frames, both sides. We try very hard to keep things in scope. Big problem why projects fail is because you get scope creep, so we spend a lot of time defining what that is. We agreed to the implementation schedule. We have a proposed schedule that you'll see a little later on. Work breakdown structure, all the familiar things. You all know we've done this before. Resource requirements. Now this one can be a little tricky because this is resource requirements as we go through the process. But there's going to also be resource requirements going forward and opportunities for IT folks to now use their skills at a higher level. And so some of the activities that have been done in the past will change, and there's an opportunity for some growth into some new areas. We take a look at risk management through the process, so we want to make sure we have everyone's agreement, and there's some quality assurance through this whole ordeal. This is just a little more detail, and then we'll be able to get on to Jose here. What the scope considers, as most projects do, right? A pilot, number of sites, of users, staffing levels, availability, performance, all of the typical things. The right side, we've added this because although it's not a new application, it's a new system. So there's going to be some areas that need to be addressed. Just a modified process, right, where we're talking to some user training, some data migration. Even here, a lot of folks ask questions about rollback. Why is it in there? The rollback for us is rollback through the pilot while we're developing before we go to production. It gives us an opportunity to pause, take a breath, understand what the issue may be, and fix it before we get into a full production environment. This is why you'll see here too, parallel running of all the new systems. It's during the early stages that your business is still running, right? So we're gonna parallel that in the pilot systems, make sure that everyone is comfortable before we cut. But when we cut, we're gonna cut. So we have every opportunity to address issues and challenges as we step along. So I'd like to introduce Jose. He's our Chief of Infrastructure Architecture, and he's gonna take you through a high-level view of what we're proposing here. Thanks.
Basically, as you can see, this is our proposal here. We based it on previous conversations with you, with your meetings and research that we did. It's offering a physical infrastructure for the database portion, running on SSD for faster write times and availability. We also offer CDN on the WebEx side, on the e-commerce, for high availability and high performance in your web applications, allowing, again, to tie into all the inventory management aspects. The proposed solution is a hybrid cloud, private and public, database being on the private side and e-commerce being on the public side for a better secure network of your information. And this right here, next slide, just really goes over a few of the plans. We are dealing with Rackspace, who is a PCI compliant partner. Basically, what that means is payment card industry data security for transactions made online. And do you have any other questions or anything regarding any of this?
Sheila has a question.
Looks good.
Shira?
Just one question in reference, if you could elaborate for 30 seconds on the public versus private cloud approach. I mean, I understand from a technology perspective what components, but I just didn't see that reflected. Is it going to be the same vendor, that it's going to be hosted in both clouds? And if you could basically, again, from the technologies, what connects the two? The web and the backend database, even if it's within the same.
Well, the hybrid solution is completely Rackspace. Provider is the same for both private and public cloud. The connections would be taking advantage of your current Cisco and VMware infrastructure in order to provide VPN connectivity to the actual servers. And I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Any other questions? Then I'm going to hand over to my other solutions architect partner here, Ms. Patty.
Hi.
Hi.
So why Rackspace? Staples, guys aligned with Rackspace in the first quarter of 2013. Rackspace was founded in 1998, based out of San Antonio, Texas. They have 9 major data centers with hybrid cloud offerings combined with public cloud, private cloud, and dedicated bare metal hosting to work as one, all backed by a fanatical support team. We have 48, or should I say, Rackspace has 4,800 employees worldwide to be there at our demand whenever there's a need to bring Rackspace in on this deployment. Some of the major features that we've agreed upon and recommend using with Rackspace are reliable servers, open API, cloud control panel, flavors, network appliances, images, root access, scheduled imaging, snapshots, cloud networks, cloud backups, global regions, IPv4 and IPv6 support, multiple IPs, console access, resize up, we talked about that earlier, where you can scale down, scale out, or scale up based on the seasons. Route access and rescue mode. We also have looked at and recommend continually using your Rackspace SLA. And the reason for that is because they basically have a simple, no loophole, no legal ease SLA. Okay? It's quite simple with some limitations. Downtime, breach of service, DOS, virus hacking. And so here's why we feel as though that we should continue working with Rackspace to migrate your Oracle e-business suite database across into the cloud. I'll give you Don.
Hi. So is everybody feeling comfortable where we're at right now? Understanding the process?
Very comfortable.
Okay. So again, in this case, we're talking about inventory management, and we looked at what could be mobile best practices for Staples. So number one, the user experience has to be number one consideration when you are developing a mobile app. It works kind of reverse. You develop and then figure out, based upon how you're meeting the need, other things. Management, how you're going to manage it, secure it, etc. But the user experience is number one. It has to be clean, and you want it tied to a business need. And you consider apps for internal employees or external customer needs. Now, I actually did some research on this. I saw this through some apps that were developed for Daimler Truck Company in North America. Their Freightliner, if you're familiar with Freightliner division, over-the-road trucks, they actually came up with an app to develop unique trucks, not mass-produced, unique things. So some of the things we consider there are internal app store versus and an external. Examine the risk versus need versus impact regarding data and information. And then a native app, and this is critical. Create the APIs to call home, check in, and get updates. And again, relative to inventory management, you want to make sure you're doing that so people have the most important and most recent data that they're working with. Then we would suggest building a mobile center of excellence and establishing a mobility group. And again, this is referenced back to research that I did. Determine the roles in that group, identify the departments, and then these potential app users will move from project to project based upon your need and what kind of app you want to develop. You want to have input from various people, various departments. Lastly, we would say engage a mobile device management partner so that you globally engage and manage various devices, all the information. There's a lot of data that can be compiled coming back from them, manage the networks that they're coming from. Also, you have safe, secure entry into Staples corporate firewalls, and you get needed data. Okay. So this now, I'm going to turn back over to Ken and talk about four-step process.
Thanks, Tom. So as we were saying earlier, there's really a four-step process in addressing this issue here. One is the creation of a proof of concept system. Take a small sample of a couple of servers, a portion of the application, get it started, spin it up, make sure everyone's comfortable with it as we proceed. Shake it out for some bugs, right? Because it's not that you're not going to have issues. Everybody's going to have issues. It's determining, number one, what they are, and then how long it's going to take to fix them, and then most importantly, fix them. Do a small pilot program, 50 servers. I'm guessing you all can see this okay. We then move to a development environment, non-production version of the application, getting ready for a full move. Then we move production across. Pretty straightforward, you know, almost like that was easy. Pictorial, this is what it looks like, right? We just tried to lay it out in a time frame. It's flexible. The only thing that's stopping the start of this is how long you want to wait before you want to see improvements. So we color coded it. We can change the colors if folks would like to see different colors. This is the general stage. Proof of concept, the first 1 through 14, the pilot program, 15 to 45. Seems like a long time for a pilot, but we really use that opportunity to shake things out. The non-production, 45 to 60, about 15 days. And then we run through the production where we really start moving that across in 30 days. So in the beginning, when we started dealing with these issues, there was a couple problems, right? Why are we here? There's some issues going on. Your mobile users are starting to see performance impacts Don talked about, right? You're seeing some of these reports with Gomez and the like. You're seeing issues in inventory. We think, as we started in the beginning, by expanding upon these issues around inventory, around the user experience, that we can help deal with those. We showed you how we were going to deal with them. So what I'm trying to do here is to kind of summarize where we were and where we're at. Now, a big piece of this ties to, all of this has risks associated with it, with any business, right? So we're trying to mitigate that risk. We think OpenStack's the right way to go. By going OpenStack, you're not committing to a particular vendor. Once these applications are virtualized, which many of them are already, OpenStack's going to give you the ability, if you decide further down the line you don't want to deal with Rackspace, you can move that, and we can help you do that. So the key, it's like in the old days with OS2 and Microchannel versus AT-Bus. Remember those days? What happened? When it's proprietary, it can be really good, but it can be really challenging if you want to change. And there's usually a lot of cost and change either way. So if you're going to make the change, think about fundamentally the architecture around it, keep it as open as you can, and in doing so, it's going to help you if you move forward as you move forward. So it offers choice, flexibility in the solution, right? By moving to the cloud, we can expand up and down and out, tying into the agility. You can do it much faster because you don't have to wait for a vendor to deliver hardware. And the viability is here, right? Rackspace so far has been a proven partner. Been around for quite a long time, since '98. But if you decide going forward that maybe things need to go somewhere else, we're offering that flexibility. So Dom, I think I'm going to turn it over to Prakash, who's going to summarize some of the dollars for you all. And again, the first opportunity, first application to work with you all, and it's a repeatable, iterative process.
Thank you, Ken. This pricing spreadsheet here is based on preliminary assumption, based on the answers we got last time talking to Ms. Veera and other people. And this is valid for 30 days. The prices keep changing. Sometimes it comes down also. So it's based on a 30-day validity. We were told that there are 30 production servers and 30 DR servers. And the breakup was given small, medium, and large. And we went with the assumption that dev servers are probably 1/4 of that, and of the production, and QA servers are half as many in number. And this is and the storage. One good thing about Rackspace is they don't charge anything for IOPS, which like Amazon charges. So that way, your storage, like reading cost, doesn't make a difference on how often the hard disk is read. You pay only for the storage, how much you store, capacity based, not performance based. And that is, and the storage cost is here, bandwidth cost is here, and support. Rackspace provides a good support for it's a per server basis, so that's added up here. And we have included SSD. 10% of the storage we included part of SSD. SSD stands for
Solid
It's
state.
a solid state.
solid state. Sorry, solid state.
He's our finance guy.
Solid state. So basically, what it means is everything is in the sort of main memory. So your hard disk reads somewhat faster from the memory, right? So the main problem you had with the Gomez ratings and all, that your performance was a little bit slower. So this SSD and the CDL, which was explained earlier, should help in both driving your rankings up in the Gomez and Compubit. And finally, the total comes to, for 5 years, the cloud cost, assuming 10% of growth, assuming every year you're growing 10%, is $10 million. Okay, this is the total cost. So this is around 33% cost savings compared to the similar implementations we have done. And considering that you are saving 33%, around 5 million, and for much faster, much better performance, higher availability, more flexible, and open architecture cloud, I would say this is a winning proposal. I hope you agree with me. Would like to, if you have any questions, I would like to take that.
All right then. So we would say to you, thank you for your time. We would like to proceed. We're available immediately to start proceeding, and we'd like your approval to do that. Thank you. Please provide your approval if you can.
Go for it.